Yo, what up everybody, Tuna here. In today's video I wanted to show you guys some info that I learned about the Whispering Mist mechanic in Torchlight Infinite. Now this mechanic is pretty insane. I farmed a ton of currency with it, lots of FE through, dropping the activation mediums from wave 15. And wave 15 seems to be quite RNG in general, but there's a lot of ways that you can kind of minimize the RNG. And that's very sort of a knowledge-based thing. So first things first, you will not really be able to progress or do very well unless you have actually access to every single passive here. So your priority needs to be basically clicking everything. It's very, very important because then at the end, you start getting these letters here at the top right. You see that actually these letters, you can still use them. So the way that you use them is when you go to start a new run, you will start the month that you can run. I like to run month 5. It is kind of like the happy medium between difficulty and rewards. And then you go here and you can start by start a run with obtaining one old stuff from the very beginning, which is pretty damn OP because in some cases that might be like a really, really strong thing. Like here we, for example, got old stuff that previews the location of old stuffs. So that now for the rest of the game, I'll be able to know exactly where they are. And this is good because in situations where we know where they are, we don't have to actually worry about potentially missing one, aka exploring tiles and wasting sanity to find the things that we want. So that is the great thing about like previewing tiles is you know whether you're gonna get something, and because of that, you're able to kind of like minimize the amount of sanity that you spend through having that information rather than being uncertain about it. So round one, once you have everything sort of already spec'd in, you can just go through and click everything. Now, one more piece of information that's really important is that you will get a total of 3 banks per run. That's very important to know because, yeah, you don't want to be wasting your sanity, especially in later runs, right? And what you will see me do is I will always kind of like try to go outwards and closer to, once I'm at the edge, I will kind of explore the edges again because the edges are where you're most likely going to be finding the exit, the clock tower. And the clock tower can never be within, it's about like 3 tiles away from where you start. So it's always going to be around 3 tiles away from where you start at the very least. So yeah, we're going to be exploring the edges now to see that whether we can find some other good stuff. Now, anxiety, this one is the absolute worst. In later round, this can cost an insane amount to to clear it. So if you actually find a an old stuff that is able to help you clear this or to help you sort of know where it is, it's a useful one to also have. And we will just basically go and click everything so we can find other stuff. This one you need to clear straight away because that's going to start draining your money. And there it is. So we have found 2 banks so far and 3 sanitariums. There's going to be 2 banks and 3 sanitariums every round. So I know for a fact that there's one more bank. So it is actually worth for me to keep looking for it because I know I have 3 sanitariums. So I can get my sanity back up to maximum. And it is definitely worth in the very beginning, especially to to be spending as much as possible to get as much gold as possible because gold is actually your most valuable resource in this game mode because gold unlocks food, it unlocks old stuff, and it makes progressing easier. And the faster you get access to certain things, the better because certain things will snowball. For example, there's a few of these old stuffs that basically are enabling in that you will start getting maximum sanity. The earlier you get it, the better because it kind of snowballs your run. The more sanity you have, the easier it is later, and the more you actually gain because you will gain baseline 30% sanity after every round. That is kind of what I will sort of do early on. And now I will look at the old stuffs and kind of decide what I want to do, of course. We can preview the trader, and the trader is where you're going to be buying old stuff as well as food. And the alchemical shop is where you upgrade them. So both of those things are really important for your runs as well, because in certain cases, old stuffs, they need to be upgraded in order to be really good. So here I will take the sanitariums and I will actually go for Miss Grumpy because this allows me to essentially walk over those negative tiles, but spend less of my sanity to clear them. That's really, really, really good. And also this one is really good as well because it says that every time, for every 8 coins obtained, I recover 1 sanity. So in certain cases, this is actually a really good way to sustain your sanity if you have really good coin income. But as of right now, since I don't really have that, I prioritize this because this allows me to explore the map more, and the more I explore the map, the better. So I will click that. And here we will actually get +1 additional food choices in the cells. So this is really good because food can potentially actually make a certain run much easier depending on what you find. But also the trader is really good because especially in later runs where you really want to be upgrading one of your old stuffs, finding the trader as soon as possible is just insane, right? So yeah, this is kind of a hard choice, but I will actually settle for the trader. Now we will move to round 2, and we have to do the little round. But we're about at 78%, 78 out of 120 sanity, meaning that we're basically going to be capped as soon as we finish this round. So I'll quickly go through this round, and I'll talk about how we progress after. All right, so here we have started a new day. It's day 2, and we now can see that we have the workshop as well as our old stuff. And finding 2 old stuffs is actually not guaranteed. It's only guaranteed in day 1, so that's actually pretty insane. So the first thing I will do is I will go to them because, as we previously said, you can actually start snowballing depending on what you get. So we can preview a bank, or we can sort of make this bad omen still sort of like not take effect, but this is not too much of an issue for us. However, reviewing tiles is really good, especially in later waves where you start spending a lot of sanity. And here we actually can reveal another tile. So this is really good again in later waves. However, this one is also very good for if you are doing one of those like food runs, right? So, but for me, usually I like to reveal things as much as possible because in later rounds it becomes very expensive to navigate. So then I will sort of path again in that sort of similar way that I did in the previous round. I will unlock a few tiles and then go straight out and then start looking around at the opposite edge of the bench. But now I know that I have 3 sanitariums and 3 banks that I need to look for. So I know that I will unlock the workshop because this is where we want to be looking for our additional sort of food and stuff, as well as the omens and this kind of stuff. So yeah, a lot of these are pretty good actually, but for now we'll click that away and we will look for other stuff. So here is the Alchemy's Workshop. The Alchemy's Workshop is where you can upgrade the ones that you already have. So here we can basically make it so that Miss Grumpy, so anytime I go over one of these, it basically costs nothing now, and it's not a problem to click it away. But it's really good once you get other things that stack with it. So in some cases, you are actually able to get certain buffs that make it so that every time you clear one of those away, you're gaining sanity back and also maximum sanity. And that is actually one of my favorite ones. But now we've collected the old stuff and we just want to be looking for the banks. So I will go through, I will click a bunch of tiles. We know that we found 1 bank so far, right there. We have a sanitarium, so we have 3 of those as well to reveal. All right, so this guy is the folklore. It's a random event. It's pretty rare, but he will often give you some stuff. In this case, he wants to give me amnesia patient key. That is terrible. We don't want that, so we want to leave. But in some other cases, he will give some pretty cool stuff. So there's like Mistosis, which grants you a percentage chance or like a percentage extra amount of loot, which is kind of nice from the chests themselves. But it comes with some downsides often, so you have to kind of mitigate the downsides by, is it actually worth it? But in this case, I will just click around to try to find the banks. I'll clear it as soon as possible. And it looks like I got kind of unlucky in where to find them, but that's 1, that's 2. And okay, that's 3. So we kind of know that these are nothing, right? We don't have to actually ever click them unless we had, old stuff that enabled us to get additional stuff from clearing those tiles. So yeah, I will basically go and click these 3, 1, 2, and 3. And I'm kind of unhappy with what I found here because I don't necessarily feel like many of these are insane. But this one is potentially really, really good for a particular type of run that we'll explain later. So I will actually grab this one since I have excess coins. And the rest I will not touch. So from now, I will just move on, and hopefully we can actually find something really strong in the next rounds to come. And now we go to the next one straight away, day 3. We can see a bank, we can see the trader as well. So what we can do is we can assume that the exit is about here, or it could be like anywhere here as well, right? Since we're not at the very edge there or in the middle. So we're gonna go straight down to the shop, and we're gonna check out what he has. And in this case, unfortunately, he actually doesn't have anything too insane for us. This is good because this is going to be giving us additional old stuff once we find those, those like question mark tiles. So we'll have additional options there. That's kind of good, but none of these are actually like run making buffs. So at this point, I will kind of look. So yeah, you see that we found that pretty early on, but we definitely want to be looking for the banks to make the best of everything, right? So now we found the banks, found the sanatoriums, and that's all we need because we know for a fact that we have old stuffs revealed, so we don't have to actually look around anymore, and we can save our sanity, and we can basically just, yeah, we can move on from here. It's really unfortunate that I didn't get anything insane in the first 3 days, because that's kind of like where the run makers come in. And I already know at this point that unfortunately I don't think this run is going to go till 15 days, unless I get something insane in the next round or two. But what I'm doing is I'm saving my coins in case I find something. It is kind of pointless to grab these things, because none of these things are really essentially going to be making my runs. But if I do find or come across something in the next few rounds that can, then I will, like I'll be really mad at myself or really pissed at myself for having spent my coins in previous rounds. So yeah, we'll just go and do the event real quick. All right, day 4. Let's hope that this one is a little bit more lucky than the previous. So we have an old stuff, which is already really good, and we can see a bank, and we can see the merchant. So I'll just go straight through the middle because we know we want to go to them, and we clear that out, and we also go to this. We check out what we have. So all sanitariums become banks today. This is only really good if if you have like a lot of sanity. But in this case, oh, this is pretty good. So Doctor's Lantern will give us max sanity, but also if we upgrade that, we'll get 10 sanity per day. So that's going to be really good. But the thing is, this is giving us max sanity, but we also need something that gives us sustain. So there's like those two things. You can have like a big sanity bar, but no sustain, and pretty much lose runs. And what I meant by sustain is like something like this, for example. So we get up to 16% max sanity each day. So on top of the 30% that we do already get. But one thing that is quite insane is this one, Filth Eater tokens, because what this does is it gives us a 20% chance to obtain one random old stuff when you remove a bad omen still. And I don't really know how to say that, still. But yeah, and when I use it in combination with what I already have here, which is makes it cheaper to actually remove those, that incentivizes me to change my gameplay into wanting to look for those negatives so that I can clear them out so I can potentially get cool stuff. So yeah, I will do that. And also another insane thing is that I have here this food that enhances specific old stuff as well. And that is generally cheaper than actually buying the specific enhances, but also in situations where I haven't found the alchemist shop or something like that, then yeah, this one is just really good. And knowing that this one is 300, what I can do now is I can use this and I can upgrade our guy over here, Filth Eater's token, and I will upgrade that and I'll start clicking away. So you can see that I have 8 and we still have 8, and hopefully we get 20% proc. We found this. We have comfort of knowing that we know where it is and stuff. I will just click away a bunch of tiles in order to find some of those negative tiles, hopefully. Okay, we're still at 8, unfortunately. We have some sanitariums, still at 8. Okay, just getting super unlucky, I guess. And we could just use these to go all the way back up. So we got kind of unlucky, but in situations where this procs, it might even proc like once or twice in a row, and that's just pretty insane. That's going to basically make your run a lot nicer, getting a lot of these random all stuffs. All right, so day 5, we will do something similar. We can start from here. We go through the bank all the way out, and we'll check out the sides now. We'll try to clear as much as possible, and now we can actually upgrade something too. I will need to look for the clock tower, and there it is. We have 1, 2 banks, and we want to find the third. We'll click on that, and we found the third bank. We'll click on the banks, and now we have 271. 271 generally is not enough to actually get a good, to buy something good. Like, this one is insane. I would really, really love to have this one, but unfortunately, I don't have enough money. So maybe I shouldn't have upgraded in the previous round, because had I actually been able to buy this one, there would have been really good synergy with the omens that I do already have. So you can imagine that if it costs less to actually get rid of the negatives, and then I'm also having a percentage chance of of getting like old stuff from removing them, and then on top of that, later on, if you get max sanity from removing them, you can get to pretty high numbers of sanity, as well as getting all of this random old stuff, and you snowball out of control, and it's really, really fun. But yeah, I'm kind of beating myself over that. But I will go through, since I have so much sanity, and reveal these things so that I have a potential for getting something cool. Okay, and this one is again one of those like gambly things. So chance to find something, and this will roll like 3 times. And I'll just do that because I just have a bunch of sanity, but in some cases you will find old stuff or something like that, right? But yeah, we still haven't procced this thing, so we're just absolutely fuming. It's really sad, and we have actually lost the potential of getting Mr. Misfortune, which is like a really, really good omen. So that kind of sucks. So now we can kind of just move on from here. We don't want to be wasting too much of our sanity. And we got a proc. Okay, so onward to day 6. The shop is really, really far. We see a bank, and we're in the very corner. The very corner is kind of hard because it means that the clock tower could just like literally be anywhere. So as long as it's 3 tiles away, it could be anywhere outside of the square. So anywhere here and beyond, right? In these tiles there. We kind of just have to wing it. Unfortunately, we can't go in diagonals, otherwise that would be kind of easy. But we're gonna go towards the bank, and from there, we got pretty lucky. We found it, and we're gonna run out to this. And again, pretty damn sad, but we find like enhanced 1 random old stuff, which is pretty good. It could be decent, although I do have quite a lot of pretty bad old stuffs, but 150 for upgrading something is pretty cheap, and we're just hoping to upgrade either this, or this. So, all right, let's send it. What do we get? We got reveal all the banks. That's all right. Not the greatest. So at this point, I'm kind of sad. We didn't really do all that much, and yeah, overall, we didn't get any procs from Filth Eaters, and we didn't get anything crazy. But that is basically what it looks like to start a run. And day 6, by now, it's kind of like where your run would have been a little bit decided, right? Like, if you got some good stuff, then you would go all the way to 15. If you didn't get any good stuff, well, the cost is going to get really, really, really more and more higher at this point. And, yeah. So there might have been some mistakes that I did in this run. But in general, that is kind of the rule of thumb that I go by to progress my runs. But now I wanted to show you guys some pretty insane stuff. So some of the really, really good combos that I found are like Filth Eater's Wages, which is basically like when you clear Bad Omen Steals, you will gain coins. And then you pair that up with Miss Grumpy. So that's like the one that I had this run as well, which makes it cheaper to clear those things. But then with the Wriggling Money Jar, when you upgrade that, that's going to give you max sanity per coins obtained. Because you're clearing a lot of those and you're using this, you're just getting a ton of money. But then you also pair it with, for example, Filth Eater's Token, as well as, like all that other stuff that you can actually have to, to basically get bonuses from removing Bad Omen Steals, and your run will just snowball out of control. But another really crazy combo is this one. So this one is very cheesy, and it's also a pun intended, because it involves a lot of cheese. But it uses a Wriggling Money Jar. Again, you get coins, and it's going to give you max sanity. And then you want to be upgrading the guild metal food to T2 as well, so that your food costs negative 60%. And then your statue, so that you can re-roll the shop for 20 gold instead of 50. And then from there, you will use the cheese, the golden worm cheese, because you lose 50% of your current sanity. And for every 1 sanity, you will gain 2 coins. Because you're gaining coins, you're gaining max sanity from the Wriggling Money Jar, which is, gonna be basically giving you a lot of max sanity. But then you're gonna look for Rich Pork Palette, and you're gonna re-roll for food in the shop, because yeah, you basically re-roll for food, and then you can also restore your food with the Dream Fish. And the Dream Fish is really expensive and rare, but because the Rich Pork Palette isn't really expensive and is also quite common, what you can use, you can use it to duplicate this, so that you can spam reroll for the cheese, and you basically go to the shop, you get the cheese, the pork palette, and this the sashimi. You will use the cheese twice, then you will use the fish once. Make sure that you always have 1 copy of it with the rich pork hate. And yeah, basically then you just spam refresh, and you get to situations where you have crazy amounts of sanity and your board looks like this. So this might happen a few times, and this is actually something that I found from the streamer Lao P, which is a Taiwanese streamer. Is just is like really insane at this game, and also Path of Exile too. But yeah, that's a really cheesy strat. And in general, how I run the mechanic and how I've made just a ton of currency. So now I will also step out of the mechanic just to show you guys a little bit some more of the the upsides and downsides and stuff that I really like in the mechanic. So we can go here and we can actually look at all of them by, yeah, this one is the Doctor's Lantern is pretty good, because when you upgrade it, if you get that early, 10 max sanity per round, meaning that if you get it at round 5, by round 15 you will have gotten like 100 sanity, which is pretty nice, but it's actually not that insane, right? What's nice is that it gives you 40 max, so even just getting this once is pretty good. The Wriggling Money Jar is just insane. It's like basically the base for all of the kind of like cheesy strategies. Then you have Mr. Misfortune, which is cracked, because you can remove the Bad Omen stills, and then you get +8 sanity once upgraded. This one is Fluffy Old Blanket is insane for recovery. So once you do have a lot of max sanity, getting this one is really insane for the later rounds to be able to like progress, because you might find that it's quite actually hard to sustain your max sanity in later rounds. And then Miss Grumpy is also really good, because it makes you able to just click on all of the negative Bad Omens to clear them out to get the max sanity with Mr. Misfortune. So pairing these up is really, really good. And then on top of that, you have the Baby Bear, which is really good too, because you gain sanity every time you clear one of them. So in many cases where you have like -20, it costs like nothing to clear them, and you gain 20 sanity every time you do that. So that's basically like free heals, and it's really nice for sustain as well. And then of course you have the Medal of Food with the Trader statue, as well as the Money Jar. This is a really insane combination as well. Beak Mask is cracked. You think about how much sanity you are saving if you get this upgraded in earlier rounds. That is really a lot of sanity that you're saving. And then I would say that sort of revealing or making anxiety not a problem, right? Because yeah, like if you come across anxiety in later rounds, it can cost like 70 sanity to get rid of it. So making sure that you know where it is, as well as making it not affect you, is pretty good. And then the Filth Eater's Waiters is just insane when you combine it with these like clearing Bad Omen strategies, as well as the Filth Eater's token. So there's a lot of stuff that really synergizes with clearing the Bad Omens. Those are the kind of runs that I really enjoy, but also the ones where I get the furthest. So yeah, that is basically a look at all of the good stuff, all of the buffs that you can use with the mechanic. And let's look at some food, because food is pretty insane too, right? So the first one here is going to be preview the location of the clock tower. If you have 1 or 2 of these for later rounds, for like round 14 and 15, those are the hardest rounds, obviously. But yeah, if you have 2 of these, if you save those up, it's insane, right? Like it basically means 14 and 15 like a non-issue, and you just travel to them and you're done. Reveal the clock tower as well. That is yeah, broken, because if you reveal it, then you could just like literally click on it and you're done. So if you have that for round 15, that's just basically a free win. That's really nice. So the Dreamfish Sashimi, that's gonna be insane for this strat that I mentioned earlier, but also for saving your ass in later waves too if you need it. Then we have this one that enhances random old stuff, or the pickled potions, which basically enhances a specific one, which is really good. Then we have the rich pork pate, which makes you able to duplicate a food. And so in cases where you get like, you find a pork pate and you have one of these, you can just like duplicate that, or with the sashimi too. This one's pretty nice if you find it, because -5 to removing the bad omens. Then you have some other stuff like the brain in a jar. This is like extremely like uncommon, but what this does is it makes your sanity cannot drop to 0, and basically that means that you have one free round. You can just click on everything and it doesn't matter. So if you eat that on round 15, you can just, yeah, you have like free round basically. It's really good. And yeah, that is pretty much like all of the really big ones for the foods. All the other ones that you find, are just going to be like a little bit of sanity, a bit of max sanity, and that kind of stuff now. But that's basically it. I hope you guys have found this helpful, and I hope you guys can get some, round 15 max wins with maybe some help with this video. And I will make one more video coming soon about the build that I'm playing, because the build that I'm playing is actually pretty damn strong. So it's basically going to be an updated version of the Frostera build from last season on Frostbitten Gemma. So yeah, having a lot of fun on that. And if you guys want to look me up on the ladder right now, you can see right here my name, and you can kind of see my progress. But I'm also streaming every day on on Twitch. So if you want to stop by and say hello, you're more than welcome to do so. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Peace out, everybody. Have a good one, boys. Peace.